I can't tell you how great it is to see so many faces and so many people that we've been in touch with by email over the last 6 months as we've been organizing this event. And many of you I'm meeting for the first time today, and it's a real pleasure. How many people in the room were in Montreal in 2008? So take a look around. There's lots of people who don't have their hand up, which is interesting. And how many people in this room are from Alberta? That's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? All right. And if you don't mind, I'd like to know how many people in the room are from Canada's north. I think that's got to be, maybe you want to stand up and make sure you can all see each other, because I know that travel is expensive and it's hard to get people here, and we're so delighted to have so many people from the north here, and I think it's really something that's going to mark this assembly. It's hard to believe everything that's happened in the past 2 years for Food Secure Canada since we last met at an assembly, and I'd just like to underline 3 things that have happened. One is the People's Food Policy was completed. As many of you know, it was launched during the 2011 federal election. It's been adopted by Food Secure Canada as our policy platform. It guides all of our efforts. It was an effort that took 3,000 people about 3 years to complete. Many of you were participants in that process, and it was coordinated by the amazing Amanda Sheedy, who is also, by the way, why don't you just stand up, Amanda, responsible for much of the work that's gone into the program. So, another thing that happened was we undertook a quite serious strategic planning process with lots of consultations across the country and a retreat that took place about this time last year. And there were some critical decisions made at that time, including the decision to hire staff, 2 of us, myself and Amanda at that time, and to get serious about fundraising. And those efforts were met with a 3-year grant from the J.W. McConnell Family Foundation that I know also supports the work of many people in this room. So I'd really like to acknowledge how important that support has been to Food Secure Canada over the last few months. And the third thing we did, and this didn't perhaps involve as many people in this room, but it did involve people across the country, was we organized around the visit of the UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Food, Oliver de Schutter, when he came here last spring. And we made sure, as a coalition, that he heard from the people on the ground doing the work on food security, on food sovereignty, what was really going on in this country, and that led to a very strong preliminary report, and we're looking forward to hearing his final report in March of next year. So that was another significant enterprise that we did together. So I'm very proud to be part of an organization with such significant achievements. But I also want us to consider over the next few days some of the challenges that we're going to face in the coming months. And there will in particular be space to do that at our AGM on Sunday, and I hope not all of you will fly out before that happens. It's over lunch, and it is a pretty critical AGM in the evolution of Food Secure Canada. And I will be listening over the next few days, as will all the members of our staff and our steering committee, and in particular our executive, to hear what your views are, what direction you think you should go in. For me, it's very clear that Food Secure Canada is about its members, and so I will be please come and talk to us. I'd like to introduce very briefly our executive, and I hope they're mostly in the room. I see Eric Charette, our chair, right here, Lauren Baker, Dana Chapman, Tatiana Fraser. So these are the 4 people that really oversee the management of Food Secure Canada, that are very committed, that give tons of volunteer time and loads of precious advice, and nor would we be here without them. I think this is a time of tremendous opportunity for the food movement in Canada. The public is keenly interested in our 3 interlocking commitments: zero hunger, healthy and safe food for all, and ecological or sustainable agriculture. Whether it's the XL meat recall, the depletion of salmon in the Fraser River, the crisis of childhood obesity, or the obstacles that prevent young people from choosing farming as a livelihood, or hunger in the north that stems from bad policies and bad politics that undermine traditional foods and make nutritious foods economically inaccessible. I think Canadians know what we've known for quite some time, that business as usual is not an option. Powering up for the future, food for the future, was chosen as the theme for this conference because we wanted to emphasize the connections between our unsustainable food systems and our over-dependence on fossil fuels, a theme that will be the subject of tonight's public event. It was also chosen to illustrate the state of our movement and our desire to power each other up collectively by sharing, learning, networking, and making new plans for the future. So over the coming days, I hope that we'll dwell not only on the problems, but even more on the solutions, and those that are already being put into practice by people in this room, and by many more who could not make it. We need to scale up, we need to speak out, we need to be bold, and we need to coordinate our efforts so that we can maximize our impact. Please pay attention not only to the very exciting array of workshops, but also to our meetings, of our networks, and the other meetings that are listed in our program. There are many, many ways for our members to be involved in our work, be it an individual membership or an organizational membership, and we intend to build that membership over the coming years. Coming to the Assembly and having an interesting time is fantastic, but I'd very much like a good number of you to make a commitment to do something more to build our network over the coming years. And finally, I'd really like to ask for a huge round of applause for all the people who have worked so very hard to put this assembly together. I have no idea how Cathleen Kneen, Kathleen, I won't make you stand up, but there she is in the front. I have no idea. Every day we say in our office in Montreal, how did she do it? Kathleen has been tremendously generous, and she's been a mentor to myself and to so many other people, an advisor. She's always got whatever it is we need, and it's just phenomenal, whether it's the last picture for the cover of the program or really critical advice on some issue that I'm wrestling with. Or how do we do those elections again electronically? Like, what exactly do our bylaws say? Invaluable. Kathleen, thank you so much for being there for us all. And then I'd really also just like to express my appreciation, our appreciation collectively, to the amazing team at Growing Food Security in Alberta, led by the formidable Susan Roberts. What a force of nature! And Susan, she was just, we'd have these meetings, it would be at 7 a.m. her time, and she'd have the agenda all worked out and be bing, bang, bang, and they had a meeting last night and they got, 25 volunteers out, amazing volunteer team. Also Rennie Mikulak, who has been helping Susan do all this organizing, permaculture expert and technical wonder, and doing so much of the work behind the scenes. And also Javina Holmes, who many of you have met. I think she may still be out organizing all the people in aprons, all the wonderful volunteers we have for this event. And finally, I do want to make sure that you all know who our staff are. Over here, please step up. Nydia Dauphin. Ophelia Gasser joined us on September 1st. Nydia joined us on October 1st. And without those two, it would have been impossible to do this. Also, Amanda Sheedy, who many of you know, if you can stand up, Amanda, and our newest member, Abra Bryn, over here, who is the coordinator of the Sustainable Local Network. So, I've probably gone on too long, right, Susan? Sorry about that, but I just really wanted to thank everyone who's made this possible.